All right, in this video, we're going to build the housing that goes around the propeller and protects it from hitting things and protects our fingers from getting caught in it if we ever get around it while it's spinning. All right, let's get down to it. So the first thing we're going to do, let's actually put some color on this. Let's make it interesting. So I'm going to hit A for appearance. And I'm going to grab one of these color samples here, and I'm just going to go with the red because I think that looks pretty cool. Heck yeah, that looks nice. All right. And now we're ready to do some modeling. So I'm going to close here. And now I'm going to create, just like I did in the front, I'm going to create a sketch here on the back surface. I'm going to stay away from all of these planes here. I want to be on the actual green part of the motor here. So I'm going to click on the surface. What that does is you can see how it captured that geometry for me. So whatever you click on, it's going to capture all that geometry. I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to do a P for project. And I can actually now project the outside circle of the propeller as where I'm going to have the outside of this one. And then click OK. And now I'm going to extrude. So I'm going to E for extrude. And I'm going to grab this outside ring and then this inside ring. I'm not going to grab the very inside ring or any of the holes. I want those open. And I'm going to do this cool thing of doing a two-sided extrusion. The first side, I'm going to slide out until I cover up completely this gray knob, this knob sticking out here, this green knob sticking out. Not quite there yet, right there. So you can see it's a little bit inset now. So that's about 6 millimeters on that side. And on the other side, I'm going to grab this other arrow down in here and drag it in. And I'm going to go to close but not quite touching the other one. And that was like about 9. 9 should be sufficient. Now, as soon as I dragged it in, it assumed I wanted to cut, but that's not true. So I'm going to change the cut back to new body. I want to create a new piece here. And I'm going to say, okay. All right, so now I've got this. And the nice thing about this is now the motor, the part that spins, is embedded inside the plastic, so your fingers can't touch it or it can't grind on anything. So that'll be a good protective thing. And I've got a little bit of gap here to keep these two from touching. I could have closed this down a little bit more, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is turn off the propeller over here in the bodies folder. And then I can turn off the motor. And you can see that there's actually no place for the motor to go into. So we need to take care of that next. To do that, we're going to use the motor to cut this base piece. So I'm going to use the combine tool. And the target body is the thing that you're going to cut. Well, we're going to cut this bottom piece here. And the tool body is what you're using to cut it with. Well, we're going to use the motor for that. And right now it wants to join them together because I have join selected. So I'm going to switch it to cut. And I remember to do keep tools. If you don't check keep tools, it's going to take the tool, which in this case is the motor, and after it does the cut, it's going to delete that piece. Well, we want to keep the motor, so we want to hold on to it. So we're going to do keep tools here. Click OK. Now when I hide the motor, you can see it cut out this nice little cutout for the motor. That's the same shape as the motor. The only problem is the motor, if I hide the base now, well, let me do this. Let's call this housing. So that's the housing, enter. If I hide the housing now, you can see that this hole here, this gap, is where the wires come out. So in the housing, we need to cut a slot here for those wires to come out of. So let's do that next. I'm going to turn the motor off. I'm going to flip to the front of the motor, or to the housing like this, and create a sketch. And where I want the sketch to be is on this outside surface of the ring here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit P for project. I'm going to project the shape because this thing isn't on my sketch. You can see what it's going to do. It's going to project that shape onto my sketch so I can use it for my extrusions. I'm going to say OK, square up back to the front. And I want to cut out all of this so the wires have a place to be. So I'm going to just take a line here and drag it right up to that corner. And then a line from this corner straight up to the outside edge of it. I'm going to extrude right away. I'm going to choose those two surfaces, and then I'm just going to push it in and watch it just cut. Awesome. Now, I can try and get it perfectly lined up with the surface, which won't be hard because it's a whole millimeter, but oftentimes it's not a perfect number of millimeters. So an easy way of doing it as well is I can come over here where it says extent type, change distance to to object, and then say, I want you to extrude all the way down to this surface down here, and it'll extrude perfectly to it, which in this case is just 9 millimeters. All right. Now when I turn the motor back on, you can see now we have a gap for the wires to come out. So far, so good. Next thing we need to do is we need to build the outside of the housing that's going to go around the propeller. So I'm going to turn the propeller back on real quick. And I'm going to then create a sketch on this back surface here. So I'm going to create a sketch and create it on this back surface of the housing. I need to draw a circle for the inside of the housing. So I'm going to come out to the circle, draw it way out here like this somewhere. And now we got to figure out how big to make it. So if I come down here and actually make it connect here, notice that outside of the housing is exactly 33 millimeters. Or the outside of this part of the housing. Then plus I need to go out a distance to get to the outside of the propeller, which I know is the blade length. But I need to do that twice because I need to do it on this side and I need to do it on this side. And then I want to go 4 more millimeters so I can have 2 millimeters of clearance on the outside, the top and bottom and all sides. So here's how the formula works. So I go 33, that gives me to that edge, and I say plus, and I go length. And notice that didn't quite get me because it's like splitting that blade length across the top and bottom. So I'm going to do blade length, I'm going to do times 2. That should get me to the outside edge of the blades, and then I'm going to do plus 4. And that should get me 2 farther out. And then I'm going to hit enter. Now the reason I did that really complicatedly instead of just trying to put a number in, because now when I change the blade length parameter, this circle will get smaller and bigger with the blades. So pretty cool, huh? All right, next thing we want to do is create the outside of the housing. So I'm going to do an offset tool, click on the circle I just drew and do a 2 millimeter offset. And now we need to connect this back to this center circle with some arms. So I'm going to actually hide the propeller because it's going to be in the way right now. I'm going to move this distance thing out to the side here. And I'm going to create a rectangle that attaches to this inside circle somewhere. And then I'm going to come down here and attach it to this inside down here somewhere. Doesn't matter where you attach it yet because we're going to fix everything about it in just a second. All right, so far so good. One thing we need to do though is we need to attach this corner to the circle as well. To do that, we're going to use the coincidence tool. So we're going to click on the point here, the dot in the corner here, and then the circle here. That attaches it to the actual circle. And we'll do the same thing up here. We'll click on the dot here and the thing, and it says, hey, it's over constrained, meaning that it's already attached. So we're all good. We don't have to do that one. And now we want to make this arm. It's going to be the arm that holds that outside housing in place. We're going to make it 2 millimeters. So we're going to do D for dimensioning. Click on these two and just type in 2 here. Awesome. And now we need 3 of these. So you might guess that we're going to do create and we're going to do circular pattern. Actually, before we do that, let's hit cancel. If we zoom in here, you can see there's the tiniest of gap inside here that's not going to extrude unless we remember to extrude it. So what we're going to do actually is we're going to make this line of the top of our rectangle, we're going to turn it into a construction line. That way, escape. That way, this top line's ignored when we do our extrusion, and there won't be a little air gap built in there, because that would be a huge problem if that was the case. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a circular pattern of this arm so that we can have 3 arms all around. So I'm going to do create circular pattern. I'm going to grab just these 2 side pieces. We don't need the top and the bottom of the rectangle. We just need those. Select the center point. We're going to model it, pattern it around this center circle, and they're going to want 3 of them, so we're going to say okay. Awesome. So far so good. Now what we need to do is extrude these shapes up a little bit so that we can get the arms to that surface. So I'm going to do E for extrude. I'm going to click on all 3 of the arms. and this center piece. And then I'm going to extrude it up to this bottom piece here. Again, it's a whole number probably, so I can probably just pull it. Yeah, it's 6 millimeters. So what I want to do is show you how to do it if it wasn't perfect. Trying to eyeball it would be tough. I'm going to go here again, distance to object. Then I'm going to click on the bottom surface of this place where I want to go to. And that's awesome. I'm going to click OK. And what I want to do is turn my propeller back on. And I've just done a major step. So I'm going to do it, look at the back. And now I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, hey, let's modify the parameter. And let's change the blade length from 15 to 50. See if it matches. Awesome. You can see what's happened here. It's made the blade, let's see, really big blade. It's made the blade wider, but it's also made the housing bigger with it. So everything's working so far. All right, so next step, we're going to create a sketch. So let me turn the propeller off again because that's going to be in the way. We're going to create a sketch on this outside surface again. So I'm going to click here for create sketch. I'm going to create it here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pull up this housing all the way up past the propeller to protect it, but we can't pull up these 3 legs, otherwise they'll be inside the propeller and causing problems. So we just want this outside ring. To do that, we're going to grab a circle. We're going to start in the middle and drag it out to these edge here. But if we just click now, it's going to record that it's 137, and we change the length or the size of the propeller, it won't change with it. So we've got to have this number have that same formula. So if we remember, it was 33 millimeters for that inside part. Then it was plus length times 2 plus 4. Because we wanted 2 millimeters on both sides. And then hit enter. Now when we change the blade length, this distance should change because it's based on that formula. And now I'm just ready to project. I already have the outside circle because I did a sketch on that surface, so it recorded that for me. And what this did basically is it allowed me to cut off all of these legs by drawing this inside circle in there. So I'm going to E for extrude, grab that outside ring, tip it so I can see what's happening. And I might even tip it all the way to the to the side view. Yep. And I'm going to pull it out until it covers up. Maybe I turn the propeller on as well. Yep. Until it covers everything up. And this one I can't really tell where it covers stuff up. So again, I can come here and say, hey, do it to the object. And I can do it to this circle here. And it's going to keep extruding till it's flush with that circle. So now it's just even with this outside piece of the motor. And it says join, and yeah, I think that's what we want. Okay. Awesome. And now we've got the propeller housing almost fully completed. We've got some more work to do. We're going to clean up some of these hard edges here to make it stronger because this needs to be strong and it's going to be really thin, so we need to make it strong. And then we need to embed the screw holes into here because right now it's a super thick piece of plastic. Our little tiny screws won't go all the way through to the motor. And then after that, we might be really close to done. Oh, before we do that, let's just make a quick check. So modify, change parameters. Let's change this back to 10. And then let's change the angle to 15. And let's see if everything updates properly. Oh, man, we're good. Look at that. Nice. All right. So you can see we can really create lots of propellers and lots of housings really fast this way. All right, that's it for this video. We'll catch up on the next one and do some last minute touch-ups.